Upshot, Ultra Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Thursday, November 21st. Got a fun one for you today. We're going to play God, in a way. We're going to pretend as though we are the Disc Golf Pro Tour Commissioner. Jeff Spring, we have taken your seat, and we get to call the shots now. And we are going to talk about the things that we would do if we were in that seat. Josh, are you ready for that?
I am. I've thought a lot about this, actually, because we got this email a while ago, and we've just kind of been saving it for the right time to run it. And so I've got a concept that I'm pretty excited to throw out. Okay.
Josh has a full overhaul of the tour, so we'll talk about that. I have a bunch of things that I literally think they should change now, that like they should focus on right now, that are not like massive overhauls, but
right.
We'll get into all of it. We will discuss in a little bit. First, some news coming up this weekend. We've got the Q Series finale. So 3 MPO players and 2 FPO players are going to have the opportunity to earn their tour card by finishing at the top of this tournament. That tournament is in Florida. The final 2 days are actually going to be live streamed on the Disc Golf Network. If you are a real sicko, like you can get in there and be like, who's coming up next year?
We're going to be doing a rapid reacts after every round.
Don't say that. People will take you seriously.
People will take me seriously. No, we're not doing that.
For real, like for these players, this is a big opportunity.
It is.
To go and play. So tournament is in Brooksville, Florida. It runs from tomorrow through Saturday. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Tomorrow through Sunday. Mm-hmm. So the weekend rounds will be streamed. And I think if you finish lower than those top 3 MPO, top 2 FPO spots, you can still earn what they're calling a silver card, which is essentially like regional-based access or like mini tour access.
Yeah, play a couple of tournaments or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So highest rated folks, Harry Chase, Micah Groth, Noah Meinsma, Zach Arlinghouse, and the amateur super champ Ryan Mon. A bunch of other guys who names you might know. Luke Sampson, Connor O'Reilly is in the field. Joey Tamale. There's like a handful of people who are already sort of touring pros, and people who like need to earn a tour card if they want to stay on tour for real.
There's also Thunder Schultz, which I believe is Silas Schultz's brother. They look very similar. So I've got the Instagram up right now. It's Drew Gibson's worst nightmare.
Yeah, he's from Baton Rouge. Gotta be.
Love it. This is interesting, I think, because you have a couple players like Connor O'Reilly, for example, as you mentioned. He's won an Elite Series event before, and now here he is trying to secure his tour card against players who are really like your next up and comers that I really think that we're going to be watching. Maybe not next year, but in the future 2 or 3 years. In specifically Ryan Mon. I mean, that's the guy that I really am watching because he's played a couple of events at this level and gotten beat. I don't know if he's quite to that level yet, but I think for his development, it's going to be important if he wants to be a serious player on tour, which all indications based on his amateur performance indicates that he should be. Then I think getting this tour card early is going to be a big deal. So, it is something that I don't know. I might tune in for a few minutes and keep an eye on it. Maybe watch the scores on PDGA Live. But for a couple of these players, this really is a big deal and pretty critical in terms of what their trajectory could look like on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
It's an interesting thing because in golf, in like getting a PGA Tour card, like I guess I don't quite know like what the baseline value of that is, but you're probably getting many tens of thousands of dollars at least just from sponsorship opportunities that pop up because you're now on a PGA Tour. There's not really a comparable thing in disc golf. Like, if anything, the bottom like quartile of touring pros is probably going to have a hard time convincing themselves to go back out on tour next year.
Right.
Considering where the market is right now.
Bottom quartile is generous.
I mean, maybe bottom 50%.
Yeah. Like, unless you are somebody who is scratching the cash line regularly, then, I mean, otherwise you're just donating back to the tournament.
And it's kind of a tricky thing, like finding that balance for the Pro Tour of like, because for the actual Pro Tour, they are highlighting the players who are consistently cashing every single week.
Right.
And if we only got to watch the top 25 players compete every week, would it really be that different than how it is now?
You wouldn't notice.
There are times when you have really interesting storylines, people bubble up from that, 50 to 100 range. And that can be very interesting. And occasionally those players even win, very occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to that. But, at the end of the day, the ratings are the highest on Pro Tour stuff when it's Paul, Ricky, Calvin, and Gannon.
Yeah.
And like watching those guys battle it out. So I don't know. I just think it's an interesting thing. Like, how do you find this balance? Because those players who are not cashing are by definition like fattening the purse for everybody else. So I just think it's like a difficult spot for the Pro Tour to be in, where they kind of need to like continue this ecosystem of like having players be able to go and play. But if you're not cashing, I mean, you're just flushing money down the drain.
Charlie, this is the exact problem I address in my Disc Golf Pro Tour proposal.
Okay.
That is literally why I designed my idea the way I did. Because you're right.
That's what we call a tease in the business, Josh.
That's right.
Anyway, let me hit FPO really quick. Your top rated FPO players: Nid Ovathanasan from Clearwater, 935 rated, a big delta over the next two folks at 910 rated. Alexis Kerman and friend of the pod Emily Yale. Only 10 players in FPO. So just straight up pretty good odds right off the top of getting a tour card. Should be fun to watch and see how that plays out. I would love, Josh, I think at some point in this offseason, I would like to have a player on who is like been on tour for a few years, doesn't cash all that often, and just talk to them about like, what is your life like out on tour?
Love it.
And hopefully somebody will agree to come on and talk about that.
Yeah.
Because people love this game. Everyone who's out on tour is a really good player. It's not like these players are not super good.
Yeah.
Even the ones who are, right around 1,000 rated probably feel that they have the ability to shoot up in the 1040s, 1050s. And it's like a consistency thing, or their putter is off, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's a pretty interesting wrinkle there. So good luck to all the Q Series folks this weekend.
We'll be keeping an eye on it.
Josh, we got some ratings updates. You want to take us through it?
Yeah, we did. A couple of just the highlights. We probably won't go through everything today. There's just
basically the last ratings update, meaningful one of the year for pros.
Yeah. Top one, Gannon moves up another point. He's now 1058. I mean, he already set kind of all the records of like second highest rated player ever behind Paul Macbeth. He's creeping to that 1060 mark, closer and closer. And I really think that he is going to get there. Matter of if, not when, really at this. Matter of when, not if. Excuse me. At this point, Ricky also climbs up to a 1054 with a 2-point jump. And these two guys have really separated themselves at this point, which matches the feeling of the season, right? Isaac Robinson is next at 1046. He's nearly 8 points behind Ricky. So it really is an impressive feat that these guys have moved up. I think. No, Ricky. It looks like Ricky's highest ever rating. Charlie, I'm going to let you guess. What do you think Ricky's highest ever rating is?
1057.
Close. It was 1056. And that was.
And when was that?
Back in May of 2021.
Okay.
He hit 1055 in April, 1056 in May, and then dropped down to 1054 Looks like he hit 1055 again in August of that year. And that's when he slid back down. So this is the highest he has been since June of 2021.
I just want to give this guy a shout out real quick. He has not dipped below 1040 rated since he crossed the threshold in December of 2012.
12 years.
He has been 1040 that whole time. He was in the 1040s for much of the next 5 years. He clipped 1050 for the first time in March 2017. That was when he was kind of in his, I would say, like at the time peak, right?
Old
He's winning.
peak,
That's when he's
yeah.
winning his worlds. Then he's back down in the 1040s. He saw 1050 again in 2019. Then he, in kind of like the light COVID year, he got up into all the way up to 1056, as you mentioned, by the middle of 2021. Then he dipped back down to the 1040s. But now he's probably played some of the best disc golf we've ever seen him play. The only reason he isn't killing everybody is because of Gannon Burr.
Yeah.
Like, Ricky has been unbelievable now in two completely distinct eras, like worlds apart. And he is just, I mean, I know we've talked about it before, but like clearly an absolute lock Hall of Famer.
Yes.
And like, I feel like if he continues to sustain the level of play we saw this year for a couple more seasons, not only is he going to win another major, but he's also going to, there you go, Josh. He's also going to really, I think, establish himself as like one of the most long-standing dominant players of all time. He may end up having a longer elite stretch than Macbeth.
That's true. It's very
Which is crazy to say. And obviously Macbeth's peak was much higher.
Right.
But if Macbeth doesn't refine his form, I think Ricky may end up outlasting him in terms of just like elite level play over the course of who knows how long. It doesn't look like Ricky's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
When did Ricky win his first major?
This is pretty early. I think it was like 2013. He won that. It was like PDGA Cup, I think was his first one.
Yeah, it's tough because like I would still say I mean it's you got to decide at what point you say like Rick like how at what point do you stop counting Macbeth at his USDGC win, his last major? Is that when you say like that's the end of Macbeth's competitive peak? And
I don't know that we can necessarily even say that it's done yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he had a down year by his very, very, very high standards. He was still good. And he also just had a child. So, like, let's see what Macbeth does in 2025 before we say he's fully donezo.
Sure. No, and that's absolutely the case.
To be clear, it was 2011.
So when
Rick won the PDGA Championship in 2011.
It's impressive. That is impressive. Ezra Robinson is now tied with Calvin Heimberg for fourth place tie for rating. Both are at 1044 now. Chris Dickerson rounds out your top five at 1043. I guess he'd be sixth technically after the tie. So Calvin and Ezra would round that out. Charlie, you wanted to give a quick shout out. Joe Revere has now hit 1039 rated. And
this guy
is in the top 10 rated in the world.
This guy is not out of the Pro Tours, but he's playing in the A tiers and the B tiers around Colorado and surroundings, and he's kicking everyone's ass. And he's over 40.
Yeah.
He won Masters Worlds this year. He blew everybody away by like 15 strokes. Joe Revere is a beast. He would be competitive at Pro Tour events if he played them. 1039, and not a cheapie. Not like I played one tournament and played good.
Right.
But he played like 12, 15 tournaments this year.
Yeah. Good for Joe. That's sick to be in your 40s awesome. Doing that. Kristen Tatar returns to the 1,000 rated mark. Charlie, we talked a little bit about this on Tuesday's show. But a few others. Owen Scoggins is at 989. Speaking of players who could be playing age-protected divisions, she's up another rating point.
It's crazy, man.
I don't know officially how old Owen is right now, but she just hit her peak rating again. She ties her highest rating of all time. Again, with this ratings update. Like, you know how they say Father Time's unbeaten? Owen is giving him a run for his money this time.
Owen is 43.
Gosh, this is so impressive.
I think she's pretty clearly the best player, like relative to division, over the age of 40, and it's not that close.
Not even a little bit. Holland Hanley, 987, is in third. Missy Gannon, 986, is in fourth. And Evelina is in fifth at 984. So, rounds out, exactly like I would think it was, right? The last three, Holland, Missy, and Evelina, they're all within 3 rating points of each other. Heck, even Own, they're all within 5. You could grab those 4, shake them up at any point in the season, and pull them out in any order, and it's an acceptable order. So, just kind of varies, but end of season, that's your standings. So congratulations to those players for being at the top of the game over on the FPO side.
All right. The 2025 Pro Worlds tickets are now on sale. It's early.
It is early.
They're getting it going.
Okay.
So let me give you some notes right off the top. First of all, the 5-day Worlds Week VIP pass, which lets you watch the lead card from the fairways for the entire week.
Okay, great pass.
Comes with parking, lunch,
Nice.
€100 advertised merchandise package, 319 euros, sold out.
What?
It's been like a day, maybe 2 days.
Okay.
So already sold out.
All right.
Interesting. Now this is very interesting.
Okay.
I literally just noticed this.
Okay.
They have a fan resale portal if you want to sell your tickets through the official Finnish company that's managing the ticket sales.
I think that this is so smart.
Isn't that interesting?
Because here's the thing. Of course, your goal is to get spectators, right? But if you are the event organizers, your real goal is just to get the money, right? So yeah, if people buy them and I don't care if they resell them or not. If they resell them, great. If they don't and they get stuck holding the bag with 10 tickets that they didn't use, great. I don't care. The money still goes to the purse. So that's interesting, and I don't mind it. I understand, and I do have a general distaste towards scalpers typically, but from an organizing side, you want the money for the purse, and you got the money for the purse.
Yeah, and I think it's way too early to think that scalping is a lucrative approach, right? Okay, what are you going to buy 5 of these VIP pass tickets and then hope you're going to resell them for more?
Right, for an extra €100, maybe.
It's a little questionable. So I'm not worried about that right now, though. I think long run, it's just good for people to have the flexibility to actually resell their tickets in a way that allows people, because maybe if somebody gets sick or they get hurt or, they can't travel for some reason.
Probably makes them.
You don't want them to just eat it, and it's good for somebody else to be able to take advantage of the ticket, right?
Yep.
It's better than doing it through Facebook Marketplace, scammers and stuff like that. Okay, so they have various tickets, this and that. If you want to go to Tampere, it's a little cheaper, and if you want to go to Beast, and again, right? Remember, Beast is free if you want to just do GA,
right?
But if you want to have VIP tickets and walk the fairways, et cetera, you got to have these tickets.
So, Charlie, what's the sauna package? Because we know they've had this before.
I actually don't know if they have a sauna one this time.
Okay. So no sauna.
At least I haven't seen that. I would be surprised if they didn't bring that back, though. So let me look at this one. This one's 2,500 euros.
Okay.
This is an 8-person skybox suite
Oh, wow.
So $2,500 for you and 7 of your closest friends.
Okay, that's $300 a pop.
You get lunch every day, complete with dessert and coffee. The lounge is open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. You can hang out in the lounge and watch the live stream, or go out on your private terrace right on the edge of the 18th green. You also get access to all other VIP spectator areas. You get some merch. You get a VIP parking pass.
That's the one I would buy in a heartbeat.
Yeah?
I'd get 8 friends and we'd buy that. Because it's the same price as a week-long VIP pass.
It's true.
Except I get a skybox to watch the comfort of the skybox to watch the live stream.
You're right.
I would buy that so fast. $2,500. Is that $2,500 each?
I don't think so.
That's underpriced.
You think so?
Yes.
8-person skybox suite, €2,500.
It's got to be more than the VIP pass. That's too easy. That is underpriced. I'd buy that so fast. And I don't even need 8 friends. I literally go on Facebook and go, hey, who's going to Worlds? I'm going to buy this box. Who wants in? It's going to be $300 a piece.
Yeah. Some people might do that.
Right? Oh, we could totally find, I could get 4 people and then I could find 4 more on Facebook. I think that one should probably be at least $4,500 a pop.
I think, is this per day? This is my question.
Oh, okay.
There's another one for €1,500 that says Wednesday at Nokia.
Oh,
and
so
then there's an €1,800 one for Saturday at Nokia, and there's a $2,500 one for Sunday at Nokia. So we're talking about a single day, not the week.
Okay, now I would be thinking about it.
It's still a compelling option.
It is. The problem is on Sunday. Sunday is the day that I would rather be on the course.
Yeah.
And
but at $1,500 for Wednesday,
then
you're talking about what, like a little under $200 a person, including lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a splurge, but it's not insane.
I don't know. Maybe Sunday is the day you want that because it's going to be harder to see the action with how many people there are going to be.
Now, you want to talk about splurge? You ready for this?
Wait, that's not the splurge?
That's not the splurge. The ultimate 7-day World Championship experience for 2.
Okay.
This is the mega luxury super VIP equivalent of Gold Pass. How much do you think it costs?
For 2?
For 2.
I think most tournaments have their passes somewhere between $3,500 or so. So I'm going to say, the way you're saying this makes me think it's expensive. So tell you what, I'll go 8,000 for the 2.
€15,000. Okay, you ready?
What?
Here's what you got. Here's what you got.
I could buy a nice car with that money.
€15,000. All right, for 2.
Okay.
€7,500 a person.
Okay.
They will pick you up from anywhere in Finland and drive you to the course.
Okay.
Including the airport. Accommodation at the stunning Sokos Hotel Torni in a nice room.
Okay.
Daily shuttle service. Okay. Playing access for both guests on both World Championship courses during practice days.
That's cool.
Fairway and area VIP passes for watching the competition, obviously. Golf cart access in Tampere for Thursday and Friday. VIP lunches on every competition day, including VIP restaurant lunches on the weekend. 2 championship merch packages valued at approximately €500 each, including all event fundraiser discs, apparel, and a pro-level bag. Access to the Black Party closing event on Sunday. Exclusive dinner with a top player and event organizer, and a meet and greet. And a personal assistant for the entire championship week to assist with all practical needs and arrangements, including restaurant reservations and recommendations. It's still massively overpriced.
Massively overpriced.
I don't think anyone is going to pay for this.
If anyone does, anyone who buys this, you have an open invitation to this show because I want to know how it was and if it was worth it.
Listen, for 10,000 euros, I personally will plan and VIP tickets. I'll get you the box. I'll get you the 10th anniversary box. I'll buy your plane tickets.
He'll give you an multi-world mystery box. I will plan your whole trip.
I'm not even kidding. Email me. I will plan your whole trip for 10,000 euro. You will pay for nothing over there.
There it is. There's your offer,
and you will get normal VIP tickets, and maybe you'll have to pay for your own lunch. But like flights, hotels, car, whatever, like you need to get around. No problem.
What's the cost to fly to Finland?
15,000 is absurd. It's absurd.
That's so much.
Like here's what it is. This is an FU price. They're like, I mean, if you'll pay it, we'll make it happen. Like, how much do you really want to pay to have dinner with UC? No hate on UC. Just like there's not enough here. Like, what is the value of this ticket? It's probably more like 7,000 euro. It's like double the price that it should be. Yeah.
Called it. Charlie, flight New York. I did New York to Helsinki, so obviously different places. $500, $600.
That's got to be a one-way.
No, round trip.
Stop.
I'm telling you right now, you can go New York.
For the dates for summer?
No, I'm looking in spring.
Well, because people don't want to go to Helsinki in the winter.
It's April. Chill out.
Look it up. All
right.
What's the New York to Helsinki round trip price, around the dates of the tournament, which is
okay, how about July 16th to July 23rd? Are you happy with that?
Well,
Wednesday to
I
Wednesday?
think the tournament is in August, so I'm not happy.
Goodness. Oh my. All right.
I want the facts.
August 13th to August 20th. Are you happy now?
No, look up when the tournament is.
I don't know when the tournament is. I'm just clicking through here.
Okay, I'll tell you when the tournament is.
All right, when's the tournament?
The tournament is July 26th to August 3rd.
I was right the first time.
No, you had me leaving before the tournament started.
July 20. Wait, what did you say it was?
26th to August 3rd.
26th.
So have me get in on like July 23rd. Okay. And leave on August 6th, which is middle of the week Wednesday. It's usually a pretty good day to fly for prices.
It is loading.
And don't put me on some junk airline.
American Airlines round trip, direct flight, JFK to Helsinki, $800.
Direct flight,
nonstop, $800.
Stop! Wow, I might go.
I think it's a red eye.
Well, yeah, they're all going to be a red eye.
They're all red eyes, right? I mean, you're leaving at like 11 p.m. from JFK.
All right, folks, 9,000 euro. I'll plan your whole trip.
You should put an auction up, Charlie, and just put starting price at 7,500 or 8,000 and see. But
I feel like you have to massively overvalue like not having to think about stuff because like getting around in Finland is so easy.
Yeah,
you get to the airport, you get on a train, and you arrive in Nokia, and then you can take an Uber to your hotel for $5. Like it's not like there's nothing complicated about it. It's Europe.
Anyway, $800, Charlie. If you're gonna,
that's great. I mean, I feel like people who just heard that are gonna be like, "Wait a minute,
go buy your tickets right now."
Yeah, that's so affordable that you should just go.
If you are willing to have one stop, you can get the ticket down to like $720.
That's not worth it. I mean, if you can get a nonstop out of New York, because like anybody can get to New York,
right?
You can take the positioning flight to New York. I can't even believe the number you just quoted me. That's unbelievable.
I'll share my screen if you don't believe me.
I believe you.
I don't know. You seemed pretty skeptical and mad about it earlier. So.
Oh, that's actually that flight is actually on. It's on Finnair.
Operated
even
by Finnair,
better than flying on American.
Yeah.
American is kind of a poverty airline, if I'm being honest. 8-hour flight, nonstop, $800 round trip.
Right there.
Incredible, dude.
Go get it now, folks. There you go.
I can't go over there. I mean, listen, DGN, give me a call. There's no way but at that price, I was like, there's no way they're flying people over, but I'm at that price.
Maybe they are.
Book now. Damn, that's insane. Okay.
So anyway, long story short, don't pay 15,000 euros.
But the other tickets are like reasonable enough.
Yeah.
Although if it's me, honestly, I'm probably just going to be happy to pay the nothing price.
Yeah.
Like you could go, or you pay for Tampere because you want to be able to go watch there.
Sure.
You pay a couple, $100 for Tampere, and then you go there and like
just have a good time.
Having been to European Open, they got like nice food carts right there. It's like 10, 15 euro for a big plate of like sausage and fries and all kinds of goodies. They have all different vendors, and I'm sure this is going to be at least 5x the scale that we've seen at European Open. So, hey, I mean, 2 weeks, 800 round trip nonstop. I mean, damn, that is wild. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are overhauling the Disc Golf Pro Tour because we have been named co-commissioners. It's not going to go well because we're going to fight about stuff, but we'll make it happen. Stay with us. It's the Upshot. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Got to check out the double convertible Rufus. A little bit of a smaller bag, but you've got the long pockets that can convert into haul pockets. It's got double cell phone pockets, double lower zippered side pockets, and a 3x3 Velcro for taking a patch. It's Josh's bag. He loves it. I've got a Rufus as well. You can get yours right now at pounddiscgolf.com, including making your entire own brand new custom design, however you like it, color, zippers, style, everything about it. So check it out, pounddiscgolf.com. Well, temperatures are dropping, days are shorter, but our day-to-day stresses remain the same. As we wind down 2024, you deserve to rest and recharge. Thankfully, one of our sponsors can help with that. The folks over at Sunset Lake have kicked off their Black Friday sale. Right now, you can save 30% site-wide when you head to sunsetlakecbd.com and use the code FRIDAY. They've got everything you need to chill out and enjoy your time this holiday season, from tinctures to gummies to topicals and even products for your pets. Sunset Lake is even throwing in some freebies this year. If your order's over $100, they'll give you a free 20-count jar of Relax Functional Mushroom Gummies. And if it's over $200, you'll get a 20-count jar of the same. I tell you what, they've got the new non-melatonin sleep gummies that have just a little bit of THC in them. Really, really nice. Super nice way to relax at the end of the day and get some great sleep. So head over to sunsetlakecbd.com and use the code FRIDAY to save 30%. See their site for terms and conditions. Welcome back to the Upshot. Well, we can't find the email or the Discord posts, but thank you to whoever sent in the idea that we should do a show where we get to play as though we have taken Jeff Spring's job and we get to run the Disc Golf Pro Tour now. What would we change? What would we do? We're going to dig into it all right now. Josh, do you want to go first and kind of outline your whole plan, or do you want me to hit some of my topics?
Let's hit yours first. Let's hit your topics, because yours are things that the Disc Golf Pro Tour could do tomorrow.
Well, in some cases.
Most cases, yeah.
Here we go. Number one. All right. I'm now commissioner. Number one thing I'm doing. Stop subjecting us to mediocre courses.
Okay, this one might be the hard.
Just stop. Do not make us watch bad courses. It's not fun. It's not fun for the people in person. It's not fun for the people online. And there's too much of it going on. Now, I will give credit. I think the 2025 schedule is showing improvement in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And we are doing more logical things and not forcing things to happen. Now, here is the thing. I do think it is the right idea for the Pro Tour to focus on metro areas and thinking about how to capture audience with their events at various places around the country, which is why I think, we saw, for instance, this past year, they tried to host a tournament in Houston. Now, that tournament had some fun moments. We saw a couple of 1,100 rated rounds, for instance, but the course was extremely lackluster. I mean, one of the worst on tour, and there was nobody there because there were too many tournaments in Texas, and people went to watch the better courses, not the worst ones. Do
you know the meme that it's like, stop having 3 tournaments in Texas or draw 25 for Uno, and then it's the guy sitting there. That's the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
I think it's the right long-term idea to be thinking about metros.
Yeah.
But Texas really needs like one in like southern Texas, like in Austin, and they need one in like Dallas. And maybe at different times of year.
Right.
And, you know, they've consolidated Portland. Thank you. We do not need 2 tournaments in one location. They are moving the Pro Tour Championship out of North Carolina. Thank you. We do not need 2 tournaments in Charlotte Metro.
Yep.
These are things that should have happened a while ago and are now starting to happen, but there's still too many courses on tour that suck. Like Music City Open course. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough. So as you think about your metros, we need to build the courses in those places to support having that metro and a great course. Because I feel like I will reserve judgment for 2025, but there was just too many times over the last few years where it felt like we were watching a really boring, bad course only so that we could have a tournament in said location with spectators. And I think it was counterproductive long run.
Build it and they will come. I mean, Glendoveer is a perfect example of like putting a course in a metro area or metro adjacent area.
And it shows that you can do it relatively quickly.
Yes.
It's not like you have to have some perfect piece of land and develop it for 10 years.
Right.
So that's one of mine.
Great. Love it.
Number 2. We gotta redo the press conferences. It's not working. I mean, I watch the press conferences far more than the average person.
And I thank you for your service, sir, because I do not.
Honestly, there are tournaments where the entire press conference wasn't worth having. Literally nothing of interest was discussed. I cannot be fun for players.
No.
It's not fun for the Brian Earharts of the world who have to ask the same players questions every single week. And like, I don't care what, Katrina Allen did in the 2 weeks between the previous tournament and this one. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think if we're going to do press conferences, there should be fewer of them. Or if you want to do them at every tournament, we should have 2 or 3 people at them. Like, only the most relevant storyline people, because they won the previous year, or you have a very specific communication thing you want to get across as a Pro Tour side, or a player like talked crap about another player and you're going to sit them down and you're going to ask them about that.
Yes. And
I don't want to hear all these nonsense questions about everything else. Don't care.
Yep. Include the tournament director in that press conference. Right? Like that is unique week to week and can give you some insight into the course changes, for example. Yep. I'm good with that. Right. But again, like you said, 3-4 people max.
It's just these like
an hour and a half long,
15-person press conference. It's not working.
It's not.
It's just not. It's not. And there's so little interesting material coming out of these that it's like hardly worth it. Okay. So that's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3. We need to revamp the ticket sales focus.
Wait, Charlie, are you telling me that we need to have more $15,000 passes at tournaments?
Hey, listen,
is this your proposal?
If somebody's buying those, they should sell them.
I guess so.
100%.
Yeah.
And like the gold pass stuff, which is like more coming in around like the $3,000 mark, appears to be selling to some extent. So I don't blame them at all for having a premium package. That's totally fine. I like it. But what we do need is to, I think, overhaul the entire way that ticket sales are being thought of. It feels like they've been trying to revenue maximize in the now And I don't agree with the strategy. You're trying to raise prices more and more for every round possible and squeezing the most money out of the hardest core fans while not really focusing on what needs to happen for long-term success for this business, which is that you get way more people interested in following along and coming out to events. Like, after a year where we saw a downturn in spectatorship, there has never been a better time to rethink this whole situation. So here are some things that I would recommend. Number one, we need to get school kids out on weekday rounds.
Yes.
Thursdays and Fridays. Big
Free.
buses of kids for field trips.
Completely
And
free.
you can do like a little mini clinic-y thing if you want, like so they can try throwing a putter in a basket, but just let them come out and like watch some players. And it doesn't need to be a whole day thing. They come out for 90 minutes, 2 hours. And like you coordinate with schools and you say, hey, we're doing this thing. It's totally free. We'd love to have you come out. And like make it a field trip day.
And here's the thing. You don't even need to do lead card.
No.
Right?
Doesn't matter.
Put them on like early MPO rounds.
Yep.
They'd love it. Kids would love it.
Just have them come out and watch the mega bomber hole where people are throwing 600 feet.
Yes.
Like kids are going to love that.
Yeah.
And give them a chance to meet some players and like, maybe give them a disc even.
Yeah. Hand out some quiet signs that they get to hold up while they're throwing. So to help teach them. Yeah. It'd be so easy.
I mean, there's a million things that you can do in that universe, but I think this is a way to get some people out to these early rounds. The other thing I'd like to see is that they either make tickets like $5 or they straight up make them free for round one.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you don't do this at every single event, but you have like Family Day once a month, Disc Golf Pro Tour Family Day, round one, it's free. Come on out and check out the Pro Tour event because no one's coming on round one anyway.
Right.
So like, are you seriously going to miss out on that $50?
You will make more from merch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
I just went to the Bronx Zoo. They have like a holiday light show.
Yeah.
And they have like free member preview days. So we'll go to the free member preview day. And then I spent a ton of money on dinner. Hot chocolate. Got a little stuffed animal for Lewis.
Yep.
They got plenty of money out of me. And my ticket was free. Right?
Right.
And I'm not saying it necessarily has to be free, but like really making it super affordable and advertising around that and like saying, hey, bring a friend. Because it's easy to bring a friend when it's free.
Yep.
So I just think like, sure, you keep your ticket prices high for Championship Sunday. It's fine. But open the door for more people to try this.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes doing more local marketing on television, radio, trying to get media hits to come on and be like, hey, we're running this Disc Golf Pro Tour event. You're on, AM talk radio, or you're on the rock station's like stupid morning show.
Right,
and you're like, hey, we got this Disc Golf Pro Tour event, and they ask you a bunch of silly questions, whatever. And you say, yeah, it's free to come out on Friday. So, when your kids get out of school, come on out. There's people playing until 7 p.m. We would love to have you check out what a Disc Golf Pro Tour event is all about. And, a few people are going to come and do that.
Yep.
Like people are looking for something fun to do on a Friday evening.
Yep. Love it.
And they'll probably buy a snack and they'll probably buy a disc.
Or buy a disc. Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. And I think the Pro Tour has got to have learned the lesson this year that you can't just like keep raising prices into a downturn and okay, whoa, what's the plan now? How are we going to turn around spectatorship? And what's the long-term plan? Because all of a sudden the business looks like in way worse shape than it did 18 months ago because this COVID boom is starting to whittle itself down. So a couple thoughts there. So why don't you go?
Okay. I took this on a much higher level than you did. Mine is completely reworked fundamentally changes how the Pro Tour runs. And one of the biggest problems that I thought about, because I was asking myself over the next 5 years, what's going to be the biggest issue? I think the bottom is going to fall out of professional disc golf. I don't think the money is going to be there for a lot of touring pros, for a lot of touring pros who go to most of the tour but are not cashing. And I worry that as that money kind of falls away, that is going to negatively impact the top level. And what that does is that puts a lot more pressure on manufacturers as well, because then they have, they're fully supporting it. Purses are going down. I think it's a problem all around. So this proposal is my solution to that problem in particular. It is actually based on the way that a lot of esports run their calendars. And the way they break up their season. And so that's kind of where I got the inspiration. There are 5 regional circuits moving forward. Southeast, Midwest and Texas, Northeast, Europe, West Coast. Each circuit has, we'll say, 5 events. Okay. At the end, 5 events. And then at the end of that circuit, you have a major as the kind of the capstone. It means we'd have 5 majors moving forward for both divisions. That's fine, right? I'm good with that. The Worlds rotates between each circuit every year. So you just set a rotation. When it's your circuit's turn coming up, you get someone who's going to host Worlds for that, your year's cycle on that circuit. If you get a Pro Tour card, you get access to all 5 circuits. And then a regional pro card gets you access to your regional circuit plus a bonus event. What that does is it takes your regional pros and says, hey, all you have to commit to, get a regional card, come play the Northeast swing, or the Northeast circuit. You play in these 4 events, you can earn a chance at the major. It minimizes the travel, and instead it means that the bottom group of players that you're seeing are going to be vastly different region to region, rather than having kind of a select group that tours but doesn't cash very often. A percent of entry fees from every region's tournament of the regional circuit goes to your regional major. You must qualify to play in your region's major. So that way you can make the major more exclusive, because you've collected money from each circuit's tournament to contribute to that major. There is also a Monday qualifier for a top 8, top 16 bubble to get an extra couple players in to the major. Okay. The last event of the circuit is a DGPT Plus event that's worth extra major points and money to qualify for your major. Pro Tour card access, and we'll say for Worlds, for example, Worlds just does whatever qualification process they want. It's exempt from the typical major qualification because we want everybody who wants to come play it to come play it. Pro Tour card access is earned by performance in majors and top regional performers. A regional card is earned by designated Q Series A tiers that are affiliated with that region. So, for example, on our West Coast tournament, you could say the Beehive Classic, which is a Q Series for the general Q Series, is one of our affiliated A tiers that gets you a Western region card. Okay. Pro Tour Championship at the end, your entry is based on performance at all 5 majors. And you have a DGPT regional coordinator for each of your 5 circuits who is a DGPT employee, lives in that region, but their only job is to work with those TDs and sponsors for their circuit. It's all they have to do. Once their circuit's time is done, they start planning for next year. There's my proposal.
So let me ask you some questions.
Please. I don't have it fully fleshed out.
What do you do with USDGC?
USDGC would be your Southeast major.
What about, do they ever get a Worlds?
And the year that they get a Worlds, we just host Worlds at the USDGC.
Okay, that's what I thought you might say.
Yeah. Okay. I think that the USDGC is actually the biggest problem in my mind with this, but you could either say Southeast never gets Worlds, it's only USDGC, or you could just say USDGC becomes Worlds once every 5 years. I'm fine with both.
Are we giving up on Champions Cup in Georgia then?
Must be. Yep. Yes, you are. Champions Cup is now at MVP, and that's their major, right? It's at Maple Hill, and Maple Hill's major is Maple Hill hosts their own major. So yes, we're giving up on Champions Cup. Because here's the other thing. I think majors, geographic dispersion of majors is also good.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
So yes, we're giving up on Champions Cup in the Southeast.
Okay.
Their major is USDGC.
But you could still have like a pro tour. They could have a tournament there.
They're on their circuit. They could totally have an IDG.
Even be an Elite Plus kind of a thing.
Sure.
Okay, so you want to have 5 majors. So Europe is easy. It makes sense.
Yep.
What are you imagining for Northeast, for instance? Like, what comprises Northeast? Because you need enough events to make this like a circuit. And right now, we really only have 2 tournaments up there.
I would extend up into Canada as well.
Okay.
Because there's a couple Canada.
You want to add some events.
Yeah, Canadian events. You people also go north during to play some A tiers when they're on that side of the circuit. But Northeast, and again, these are flexible.
Yeah, they're loose.
They're loose, right?
You could have Pennsylvania involved in that. You could call Virginia.
Put Pennsylvania, maybe
Virginia
Southeast. We can kind of decide there. But include a Canadian tournament. Put in Maple Hill, GMC. So between Pennsylvania, Canada, Maple Hill, GMC, I think you're like 1 to 2 tournaments away from having it.
So
Maine, you wanted one in Maine?
What do you do in a year when you're trying to say that USDGC is going to be Worlds? What happens to the US Championship? It goes away?
So I think you'd have to just designate something else, or and that's that is the fundamental.
It's a little
problem,
tricky, bud.
Right?
It's a little tricky.
That I know that USDGC is my biggest problem here.
Yeah. Let me back up and say.
Let me offer one other option.
Sure.
USDGC is the Pro Tour Championship moving forward.
They're not going to want to do that.
And we just do Winthrop. And Winthrop is your end culmination tournament at the end. So then you have the Champions Cup, your IDG tournament as your Southeast major.
Okay.
And then the last tournament of the year is Winthrop.
I think here's what I would say. There is already essentially a structure for this existing because you have these regional events mostly happening.
Right.
Now, they're not always in a perfectly logical flow, but you could make some tweaks and make that work.
Right.
I think my quibble is more that the majors have to fit neatly into this regional format rather than like sometimes fitting in neatly and other times we do things a little differently. Like this year we have two majors in Europe.
And
while I think that that's not ideal, I also think it's like fine because they're trying to, push this Estonian tournament, which has got so much money behind it and pomp and circumstance, and like they want to give them a major.
Well,
fine.
Here, let me also add, I think part of that is because Europe's never had a Worlds before, right? That's why we're like, whereas if you guarantee Europe gets one every 5 years, here's the other thing that I think this does for scheduling. If you codify this into circuits, you could guarantee, if let's say you made them 8-week schedules, right? Because you play around weather. So it's 8 weeks, 5 regions, 40 weeks. You get 12 weeks off, essentially 3 months off from November to late January. You could guarantee a week before and a week after the major for time off.
Because you could plan it in advance.
You could plan it in advance.
Yeah.
And you have an 8-week calendar, tournament, break. Like, right? And
yeah. I mean, it's, again, I think I like the structure you're creating. I worry that it's a little too rigid is really what I'm getting at.
Possibly.
But I think that the idea of having like a regional card makes a lot of sense, and like having bonuses, for instance, for doing well in a particular region, I think it could like make the season feel a little fresher because it's like, all right, who's going to win the West Coast swing?
Right.
And like you have this own point structure just for the West Coast, and there's a bonus payouts.
Yep. You could get regional sponsors, right? Who maybe aren't state specific, but also aren't national.
Regional banks that only operate on the West Coast.
Yes. Or like Maverick gas stations. It's in Utah and Idaho and Montana, and yeah, they probably don't want to sponsor the full tour because they're only in a part of it. But yeah, I bet you there are some pros who stop at Maverick during the West Coast circuit.
Everybody's got their gas station.
And you have a coordinator who's in charge of that, right?
Right.
Who knows their region, who lives in the region, and that's their only job.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very compelling concept overall. I would push back on the major stuff just because I don't know, like, trying to force Worlds into Winthrop and then not having USDGC, like, is Innova even going to want that?
Well, and again, this is playing like God, right? I'm throwing out ownership of majors, like
bye-bye.
This. I'm fixing this, like, where the PDGA and Pro Tour get along.
So can you say more about the esports component here? Because like is this what they do in esports?
So at least in a couple of them that I follow, the way that it works is they have essentially like they have your schedule, right? Who you play each week, and those accumulate points for a major. And then you go play in the major, and so you get minimal points from your actual in-season performance, and then the major gives you playoff points. And then your performance, and then so they chunk it into 3 or 4 majors with qualifications before each major. And then at the end, you have the championships that are based on your performance at the majors, which are what contribute points. Now, here's the big thing about esports that's different. Number one, they are not the geography is not as big of a problem for these online events.
Sure.
Right? They're just ways to break up the season. But then number two is they award the majors so that they can host in-person events at geographically dispersed area to make lots of money from people who come and watch in person to juice up the purse at the World Championships.
Well, I think disc golf needs to take a similar approach in that, like, the main consumption for pro disc golf is and will be and is probably going to be increasingly on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I want us to focus on courses first. And like, if you were like, I really want to be in this metro, then work on building a course that's good enough to deserve to be on the Pro Tour.
Correct.
This is what I feel.
I agree.
But like creating more of an opportunity for local players to be involved, is I think an important feature, both from a like financial sustainability standpoint, but also just because like there are differences around the country, and you do want people to be excited about the Pro Tour coming to their area. And it does suck for people in the Northeast who have been basically locked out of those tournaments because it's all playoff events now.
Correct. Yes. And have them come play and put them on like third cards. Put a couple of your top regional guys on third and fourth cards to catch a little bit of airtime. Yes. And that hopefully builds a better financial base for what I believe is going to be the hemorrhaging of those lower end players. Speaking
of things I want to change, DGPT playoff structure.
Agreed. Oh, hate it. Yeah, that's
garbage. Like either get more serious about cutting people or just like get rid of it completely.
Yep.
Like if you want to make those events worth more, I'm fine with that. But let people play.
Well, let them all. Just call them all plus events. Why don't we just have 4 elite plus events?
Right.
Or premier events or whatever you want to call them.
Plus premier. Diamond.
Just one designation. We don't need.
They love to make up new terminally every year anyway.
Obnoxious.
But I just don't. The playoff structure is bad because it's like locking people out of some of the best events of the year. But then they're like ultimately they're not that exclusive because people aren't accepting their spots, and there's like not enough drama at the cutoff to be that interesting.
Yep.
So you're still going to end up with the drama of who gets into the Pro Tour Championships either way, but right now you're sort of just like making it worse for local pros.
Yeah. The other thing that I like about this that I think is cool is like your guys like Andrew Marweed, for example, on the Northeast Swing or Northeast Circuit.
He might win the swing.
He might win the circuit. He absolutely could.
And I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that too. I think there should be like bonuses for doing well. Again, I just think it's like there's a nice way to talk about the season and break things up into chunkier bits so that it doesn't feel like one long endless slog.
Right. And we don't have like literally 5 weeks where we have 3 of our majors.
Right.
That's my other problem that we need to break those up.
I agree 100%. All right. Well, let us know your thoughts. Email us upshot@ultiworld.com. We would love to get your thoughts. What would you change about the Disc Golf Pro Tour? We're going to talk about this more on an upcoming episode with some mailbag. So email us, join us in the Discord. We did 2 Inside the Circles yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We did extended top 5s, including Josh's top 5 sandwiches, which that conversation got pretty spicy. And top 5 disc cliches. I don't know. We did a bunch of fun stuff. And Josh and I did a special video version of Inside the Circle where we revealed our bags.
Yeah.
We did full in the bag. So you can check both of those out right now. Just get a subscription at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long. We'll talk to you next week right here on The Upshot.